This trip marks the second expedition into the domain of adventure country treks, following the exhilarating trails of Italy's backcountry the year prior. On our last off-road adventure in the Balkans, we encountered a mix of random off-road treks in the Trans-Euro-Trail path that weren't always suitable for larger adventure motorcycles. This often led us to having to backtrack when the trails became too challenging, seeking alternative routes to navigate through. The Adventure Country Treks, meticulously crafted by the Adventure Country Trek Association, offer a significant advantage. They guarantee that all off-road paths are suitable for larger adventure bikes, reducing the necessity for detours, particularly vital given our limited time frame for the tour. Yet, as we quickly learned, adept navigation skills remain crucial for overcoming unforeseen challenges along the route. Although we set out on our journey at the end of April, a few weeks earlier than advised for this specific ACT trek, our excitement to explore the remote regions of Greece and Albania's backcountry roads was boundless. Accompanying me on this adventure are Jochen and Sebastian, starting our journey once again from Munich. For me, this meant tackling Germany's high-speed autobahn for a day just to reach our starting point in Munich. A ferry ride from Venice to Igounomitsa would mark the initial leg of our extensive southwards journey, leading us to the rich landscapes of Greece and Albania. Fortunately, I had planned an extra day in Munich due to prior work commitments, which proved to be a stroke of luck as I encountered my first setback before the tour even commenced. To my surprise, my brand new Heidenau K60 Ranger rear tire did not withstand the 500-kilometer journey on the Autobahn to Munich, sustaining significant damage to the tread pattern despite adhering to the manufacturer's recommended speed limit of 160 kilometers an hour. With parts of the tread pattern torn out in 3 different spots, I realized this was not the kind of issue I wanted to encounter on an off-road tour through Greece, with most of the riding still ahead of us. Thankfully, Jochen stepped in to assist, promptly researching tire dealers who stocked this particular tire and could provide a replacement within a day's time. Fortunately, Jochen located a tire dealer a few hours from Munich with the necessary tire in stock. Incredibly, he generously made the trip in his spare time to buy the new tire, while I attended to my work commitments during the day. Arriving in Munich on a Thursday night with plans to depart Saturday morning left us with just one day to resolve the tire issue. With the new tire mounted, we were ready to set out on Saturday morning, aiming to travel from Munich to Venice in a single day to catch the ferry to Igounomitsa the following day. Opting for a more scenic route, we embarked on a detour through parts of the Dolomites, where we were greeted by unexpectedly pleasant weather and remnants of snow from the previous season. Taking advantage of the picturesque surroundings, we paused for a quick lunch break in the Dolomites, basking in the afternoon sunlight. Energized by the beauty of the surroundings, we resumed our journey, making our way to the outskirts of Venice where we had arranged accommodation for the night. With the day still shining brightly, we seized the opportunity to explore the area with a leisurely walk and indulge in a delightful dinner nearby. The following day greeted us with light rain as we packed up and prepared to make our way to the ferry port.
So we're gonna head to the ferry port, which we have to be there in an hour. My KTM just died. Ich fasse mal von der Straße runter.
But fate had other plans in store. Just as we approached the traffic light, my KTM abruptly shut off.
And won't start.
Echoing a familiar issue I had encountered before. During my inaugural ride with my 2022 KTM 1290 Super Adventure R in Berlin. The engine had inexplicably cut out on the Autobahn, leaving me stranded at the roadside. Despite KTM's initial inspection revealing nothing more than a burned fuse for the engine control unit, the reoccurrence of the problem left me unsettled.
Alter, nee. Nee, ist das egal. Das ist eine Sicherung, die draußen ist. Scheiße.
Fortunately, I had come prepared with spare fuses to address the issue immediately. but the underlying cause remained a mystery, casting a shadow of uncertainty over our journey. Little did I realize that this glitch would escalate throughout our trip, with the true root of the cause eluding me until weeks later. A revelation I'll share later in the video. With a new fuse in place, we regained our momentum and set off to catch a ferry to Greece on schedule. The journey to Igoumenitsa promised to be a lengthy one, spanning 27 hours, but we made the most of it with an assortment of snacks and drinks to keep us fueled along the way. After 27 hours at sea, we finally disembarked from the ferry, eagerly setting foot on Greek soil.
Geile Tour, wünsche ich euch. Kommt gut an, faltet nicht vom Bike runter, bleibt gesund.
Our journey truly began as we made our way towards Patras, the starting point of the ACT Greece, a scenic 5-hour ride from Igoumenitsa. With the refreshing ocean breeze, we relished the first kilometers riding south along the picturesque Greek coastline, the open road calling us forward. As the evening descended, we arrived in Patras, greeted by the charm of the old town awaiting our exploration. With ample time to spare, we wandered through its winding streets, soaking in the atmosphere, before settling down for a delightful dinner at a local restaurant, savoring the flavors of Greece under the starlit sky. On the inaugural day of the ACT Greece, our journey unfolds towards Kalavrita, nestled amidst the mountains of the Peloponnese. Opting to forego the initial starting point in Nafpaktos, we instead commenced our trail directly from Patras. Bypassing the pavement segments with the promise of exploring Nafpaktos on the following day. Navigating through the urban labyrinth of Patras, our ascent into the mountains commenced promptly thereafter.
So this is beginning of day number 1 of the ACT track. Starts out with this nice gravel road. This is the very beginning of May 2nd to be exact.
The rugged terrain offered glimpses of the majestic Gulf of Corinth and the sprawling cityscape of Patras to the west.
So we had to stop at least real quick to get a nice view of this here, of the bridge from up here, as long as there are no clouds yet. And it's super crazy windy. So it's photo time. Oh, it's getting slippery here. Wow. So I'm definitely getting warm, despite the chilly 8 degrees that we have here. Hands are cold, fingers are cold.
After the first meters of dirt, we're now settling into our pace and fully enjoying the beautiful mountain tracks. Just as we felt we were getting the hang of the gravel tracks, Jochen and I ended up dropping our bikes at the exact same spot.
Jochen's bike is smoking like crazy. This is definitely a bit more technical, this part here. Bigger rocks, looser ground.
As we ascended to higher elevations, sections of the track became more technical, with loose ground and larger rocks challenging our ride.
So there's some snow.
Reaching altitudes exceeding 1800 meters, we were greeted by remnants of the previous winter in the form of small snowfields. Snow had been a concern venturing out so early in the year, as past riders had encountered impassable snowfields along this track. However, on this occasion, snow posed no obstacle for us.
Wow, crazy, look at this.
The vistas remained spectacular until we ascended into thick cloud cover.
The dreaded ruts. I think we're in it now. Ah. Ah. Whoa. Sind wir in a rut? Ooh, this is slippery stuff.
As we reached approximately 1800 meters in elevation, moisture saturated both the ground and the air, courtesy of the thick clouds enveloping us. Despite the excellent performance of our 50-50 tires on the gravel sections, they reached the limit in this deep mud, especially with the weight of the motorcycles. Reflecting on this segment of the track, it stands out as a truly memorable part of the journey. The wind was particularly fierce, especially at higher elevations, with powerful gusts occasionally throwing us off balance on our motorcycle.
This is where we're gonna go. This is my guess. Now you don't want to slide off the side here. About halfway through the track, with like 70 kilometers left on the track. We start with 140, and it is a 11:45 in the morning. We haven't actually taken a long break. We've been on the bike the entire time so far. So we lost all our food that we bought. We just kind of put it on Sebastian's tail end of the bike, and the net that he used wasn't strong enough. The vibration was shaking it off.
At lower elevation, we finally stumbled upon a less windy spot where we decided to take a much needed coffee break. A tradition that had become an integral part of our off-road adventures. Our mountain barista Jochen worked his magic, brewing up some much needed fuel. Despite losing all the groceries we had bought early in the morning, Sebastian still had some leftovers tucked away in his luggage from the long ferry ride to Greece, just enough for a small snack.
So we just got to this gate, but it's not a road closure, it's just a gate. Open it, close it back up, and you're good to go.
There it was, our first water crossing of the trip, and we carefully assessed the best line to navigate through. Although the water wasn't particularly deep, the large rocks posed a threat, potentially throwing the motorcycle off balance, as we would soon discover.
Yeah.
Taking the lead, I opted for the right-hand line.
Guys, first water crossing. I'm the first to go. It's a little tiny bit scary.
It was in this moment that I had to set the camera aside and rush to assist Jochen with his bike.
Yeah.
Even when the motorcycle is upright, gaining traction on slippery rocks can be challenging. In such moments, having helping hands can make all the difference in building the momentum needed to push forward.
Komm, wir schieben. 1, 2 und hopp! Whoa! So we're 30 kilometers before our destination in Calabria, I think is the name. And we made it to the next off-road section. This is a bit steeper stuff.
The final off-road section served as a perfect conclusion to our first day on the ACT. Despite the forecasted rain looming on the horizon, the upcoming rolling green hills provided a spectacular view and proved to be a joy to ride through.
Ah, geil! Das war die Stelle, ne? Die sieht gar nicht so doll aus, aber wenn du die fährst.
Ja, scheiße, weil du brauchst noch mehr Speed.
Ja. Aber wenn man so hochtreckert, das geht das eigentlich ganz gut.
Ja, die rechte Spur war deutlich besser.
We're at the final stretch of the ACT. That's the part where you go over the top of the hills here, that grass. Can you taste the beer already?
Yeah,
Yeah.
almost. I can smell it.
After venturing deep into the heart of the Peloponnese mountains, traversing diverse mountain ranges, each offering its own breathtaking vistas, we reached our day's culmination at Kalavrita. The rain clouds had passed us by the time we settled into accommodation in the center of the town. So since we got here so early, we're trying the local sweets before we go to dinner tonight. So it's coffee and baklava and the other thing I cannot pronounce, but it's...
Galactoburico.
Alright, so it looks very good. Lots of sugar. We concluded the day with a dinner at the nearby restaurant. It's morning in Kalavrita. And the best bakery in town has our breakfast this morning. Day 2 of our expedition sees us journeying northward into the southern section of the Pindos mountain range with a destination in the small town of Anachora.
So this is the ACT, day number 2 of ACT Greece. We're standing right in front of our accommodation. We had this small little house behind us for the 3 of us, with plenty of space, and we had this awesome bakery where we had our first welcome beer last night, and we had breakfast there as well. So the forecast today, you would not believe it, is actually lots of rain. It doesn't look like it right now because we have blue skies and clouds, beautiful clouds. We were lucky yesterday that we skipped most of the rain, but today we're expecting quite a bit of moisture coming down. So we'll see. I'm about to get started. It's 8 o'clock in the morning. So we just got off the main road. I guess that's taking us to these smaller roads. So we really have to enjoy the beauty of this morning. It's shortly after 8 o'clock. And you can see it's springtime in Greece. We're still at the very beginning of May. Oh, look at this small little mountain village here. Now I feel like you're really remote somewhere in the middle of the mountains. And we're finally hitting our first off-road section. It's a bit more slippery today than it was yesterday. The rocks especially. And now it's 9 degrees up here. So way above the clouds. Haha, very cool.
We found this beautiful spot here just in the middle of the track to have some coffee. It's always good to bring your own coffee. We've been doing this since the last trip, and it's a super nice scenery here, and we kind of needed the break too. It was quite technical and quite muddy, so it's good to take a stop and have some coffee.
Peek at the ocean, because after this we'll be in the mountains.
With the mountains of the Peloponnese fading on the rearview mirror, we prepare to traverse the Gulf of Corinth once again. The Rio Antirio Bridge, stretching an impressive 2,380 meters, stands as a testament to engineering ingenuity, ranking among the world's longest multi-span cable-stayed bridges linking the Peloponnese Peninsula to the mainland Greece. After a brief coffee break in Naupactos, our journey continues along the scenic shoreline before transitioning onto our first off-road track on the mainland.
So this now is the very last view we're gonna get of the sea today. We still have sunshine, but to our right, this is where the weather's coming from. It's chasing us from the south. So we're expecting it to get pretty wet sometime while we're in the mountains, but so far so good. We really lucked out with the weather for the morning part of this trip. So let's see how long we can stay dry, but somehow I have a feeling I'm gonna get caught up with the weather. Some crazy looking trees up here and it's getting darker. This is a bit slipperier here. It's a bit muddy. Wow, this is crazy. Now here in the pouring rain, 20 minutes, and it's 11 degrees, freezing. Gloves are wet, they're not rain gloves. And it's like heavy rain and thunderstorms. Didn't really have a lunch break because we knew the weather's gonna be like this. So we just decided to push on. Ah, kalt! Aua! Alter Schwede! Oh, ich kann die Finger nicht mehr bewegen.
Ach so, hast du Heizgriff angemacht?
Hä?
Hast du nicht die Heizgriff?
Nee. Das ist das Heizgriff ist was für Warmduscher.
Ja, genau.
Oh, also noch eine Stunde hätte ich das jetzt nicht machen wollen.
This is what we deserve now. Sebastian's under the shower already, but we're here wet and thirsty.
It's an adventure trip.
We're warming up in front of the fire. Yes. As twilight falls, we find ourselves nestled in Anachora, a picturesque village cradled by towering mountains at an altitude of 1050 meters. Here, ancient fir and chestnut trees cloak every slope and summit, their age spanning centuries. Our lodging for the night is the Village Inn, one of the few establishments welcoming guests during the spring season. After settling in, we set out to explore the quaint town. With only one restaurant open at this time of the year, we follow our host's recommendation for a cozy dinner spot amidst this serene setting.
Der Katzenflüsterer.
Day number 3 of the ACT Greece track. We're in Anachora, staying at the Village Inn. I guess that's a very popular location for other riders as well. It's probably going to be the hardest day of the ACT track for us especially. There's a couple of difficult sections in there. There's the water crossing and there's that steep sort of rocky part that we have to look forward to, but also we have a lot of rain. It's not raining at the moment, but there's a lot of forecasts. It's been raining the entire night. so there's going to be a lot of mud. And it's not a very long trek, but we got a taste of the mud here in the mountains, so this is going to be a challenging day. Some water crossing footwear for Jochen, because today is going to be the craziest water crossing that we're going to have on this trip. Deep water, and he's going to wear these. Maybe. We'll see.
We get to do a final pass through the center of the town here. And this is the location where we had our dinner last night. It was the only place that was open, right here, across from the post office.
Shortly after leaving Anachora, we encountered our first logging road in the mountains. As anticipated, the rain from the previous night had transformed the sandy terrain into slippery mud.
Ooh! This is where it gets a little difficult, guys. It's very, very slippery. Fuck.
So we took a quick stop here in the middle of nowhere because the mud's getting really challenging and I was getting too warm, so I had to take a layer off.
So it goes without saying that we're making slow progress on this muddy stuff. So we approached the water crossing, which holds quite a bit of water today, which is not surprising because it's the end of the winter season and plus it's been raining quite a bit. Holy shit, that's intimidating. Oh weia. Ach du Scheiße. Aber beim ACT, wo sind die dann rübergefahren? Hier vorne oder was? So, contemplating what we're doing. I mean, it could be possible, but if something goes wrong here, you're way the hell out.
After attempting various methods like throwing stones and using the stick method to gauge the depth of the water, we realized we couldn't accurately assess some of the deeper spots. So Sebastian is doing the river walk, because his shoes are crap anyway. Sebastian bravely sacrificed his dry boots to scout possible lines through the river crossing, but the sheer size of the rocks and the deep drops in the middle of the river posed a significant challenge, especially for heavy adventure bikes like ours.
Ja, da ist das Loch, da kannst du gleich die Unterbuchse nass machen.
Concerns about the strong current added to the apprehension. While we weren't worried about the motorcycles tipping over, we feared that the water could infiltrate the air intake, potentially causing engine damage. Facing the prospect of a stranded bike in such remote location, we couldn't risk it. After careful consideration, we made the decision to turn back, unwilling to take the risk of getting stranded so far from civilization.
So we're back up in the village, where that little cafe is, and decided to not do the river crossing.
So now we're in this beautiful little town that is only accessible by dirt road, and there's a small little cafe behind us, and that was featured in the video too, in the official ACT video. So we're gonna grab a coffee and then we have to find a detour because we're not sure if we can make it back on the track again, but yeah, we'll have a coffee and think about what we do next.
We're on our way on the detour to get past the river crossing, which is a long detour and basically means we're not gonna be able to enter the track again. Then after some pretty beaten up roads, it turned into this brand new road. It's still wet, of course, but you can see there's a lot of rocks coming down from the bad weather they've had in the recent days. And the other roads were so messed up. And this is a nice new road.
Forced to detour, we navigated our own tracks northward, veering from the original ACT track, where we found the bridge that would bring us across the river. Yet, despite this deviation, our path remains no less magnificent than the intended route, offering breathtaking scenery along the way. Ascending a high mountain road, we witnessed the river we had attempted to cross earlier converge into a vast reservoir. Selecting a scenic spot, we paused for a picnic, reveling in the breathtaking panorama. However, our journey into the off-road tracks in the mountains was not quite over and held one more surprise towards the end of this day.
We found another track, which isn't part of the official ACT. But rather than going the rest on paved roads, we want to try this. So Jochen's got this track on his iPhone app that he's using to navigate. Aha.
Here it was, another water crossing awaited us. This one appeared wider, yet seemed less steep than the earlier one we had bypassed. Determined not to underestimate this challenge, we collectively walked the intended path, strategically unloading our luggage to lighten the bikes, preparing for any potential need to lift them out of the water.
Und?
Jochen courageously volunteered to go first.
Easy.
This water crossing marked a small triumph for the day, and notably it was the largest one I had ever encountered.
We made it through the water crossing. We don't know what's coming here. So if this doesn't work, we'll have to go back, do it again. So the boots are wet. Oh, this water came in from the top. Isn't as bad as I thought it would be. I mean, the water's in there, but it doesn't feel as cold as I thought it would be.
The subsequent trek was a joy to ride, and we found ourselves much more confident navigating the wet terrain. The sunshine that greeted us after the water crossing quickly gave way to the rain during our final kilometers of the day.
Geil! Geile Strecke!
Sebastian! Oh Gott!
Wo müssen wir jetzt eigentlich lang?
Jetzt haben wir noch 14 Kilometer. Ist aufwärts gefahren.
We're at 1300 meters high up in the clouds again. Just got off the off-road track that we just found by ourselves with the river crossing. So despite the fact that we had the detour from the original track, we definitely had some really cool tracks. This could have been part of the ACT track for all that matters. The forest muddy part. Towards the end, it was getting easier and a lot more enjoyable too.
While I don't mind a bit of grime on the bike, a brief washdown was necessary to clean the luggage and attend to the chain for maintenance.
We arrived at our final destination. I just forgot the town's name, but the hotel is a couple meters to the right. Giving us in, perfect.
Cheers.
Day 3 of the ACT, and we really lucked out with the weather again, because this is what it looks like now, and we had most of the day in the dry.
Start of day number 4. Bit of a late start because we had breakfast at 8 instead of 7 as the previous days. We're gonna stop at a supermarket and get some groceries, just some food for a picnic on the way. So we'll see what today's gonna bring. We've been pretty lucky the past 3 days that heavy rain forecast didn't really accumulate to anything until the afternoon. So either it was very close to us getting to our accommodation or right after. It's gonna be a long ride for us because we are extending the trip today and we're not staying at the recommended stop point. We're going to Meteora where the monasteries are that sit on these rocks, on these rock formations. So we have quite a few more kilometers to go so we can see that. We are so close to it, so we didn't want to miss that out. So just when you leave Carpenese, you're rewarded with a nice curvy paved section Whoa, check this out. Cool bridge. We're gonna find that bridge that we saw in the ACT movie. That was really pretty. Oh. Shit.
Jochen had a few minutes head start, and by the time Sebastian and I caught up to him, he was already sitting next to his bike.
Warte. Alles okay?
Gebrochen.
Was?
Der Fuß ist gebrochen.
Fuß ist gebrochen. Oh nee. Shit. Oh nee. Krankenwagen holen, ne?
He had slipped on a small mud section, and in this effort to regain his balance, his left foot became trapped between his left pannier and the ground,
Oh fuck.
resulting in a broken lower leg.
Fuck. Welche Seite? Der da, rechts?
Ja, ich bin unter die Koffer gekommen, unter die Tasche gekommen.
The timing of the accident just 45 minutes into the day was both fortunate and unfortunate. But we were relatively close to the main road and not hours into the wilderness like in the previous days. It was still a distressing situation. Last night's destination, Karpenisi, was the nearest sizable town where we could find medical help.
Yeah, it's not very far. It's just off the pavement and then into the dirt road. It's very close to the main road. 3 people, including the injured person, yes.
The ambulance and the police arrived promptly, about 45 minutes after the call was made. Despite the pain, Jochen managed a smile as the medics attended to him. However, he was understandably upset with himself for what deemed to be a stupid mistake. One of his requests was to have his motorcycle brought to the hospital, unwilling to leave it unattended in the middle of nowhere. The police were incredibly helpful, finding a nearby restaurant where I could safely leave my own motorcycle with all my belongings, allowing me to ride Jochen's bike to the hospital. The diagnosis confirmed Jochen's fear, a broken lower leg. It was a complicated fracture, and my brother, a trauma surgeon, strongly recommended surgery in Germany. Fortunately, we all have insurance policies to cover the trip home for both rider and his motorcycle. Despite this setback, Jochen encouraged Sebastian and me to continue our journey along the ACT Greece route. Although our hearts were heavy, we honored his wish. With time constraints looming, we made the tough decision to deviate from the original plan and find another thrilling off-road track through the mountains.
Look at this road. Wow. It's nice. Gotta say, still got the events of this morning in my head. It's not a good passenger when you're riding stuff like this. Just hoping to shake it off.
So time to eat something. First time without Jochen.
We don't have the Pro anymore.
Nope, what we have is cutting board. This should do it.
So we can already see where we're going. Over there. That road. That's where we're gonna head. It goes like steep down. To the side here. Da ist nichts rüber. Also wenn ich das Ding jetzt nochmal anmache, der schickt uns geradewegs wieder zurück. So the Google track is basically just gravel roads the entire time. The Garmin track would have backtracked us to where we started, so we didn't want to do that. But I guess we're out here where there aren't any paved roads to the next big city. So we're about 5 minutes out from our accommodation tonight. And that's the scenery we're looking at. Absolutely breathtaking. Not sure how close we're gonna get.
As darkness descended, we made a spontaneous decision to visit the awe-inspiring Meteora site before retiring to our accommodation for the night. As if the Meteora rock formations themselves weren't awe-inspiring enough, the sun peeked out from under the clouds one last time, casting an ethereal glow over this incredible place in the most stunning sunset. After an eventful day, we felt incredibly fortunate to have timed our visit so perfectly, granting us a rare chance to witness the Meteora site bathed in such mesmerizing light. The following morning blessed us with the finest weather of the trip thus far, granting us another opportunity to view the Meteora site in gentle morning light. This UNESCO World Heritage Site features remarkable monasteries perched atop eroded rock formations. Despite the incredible challenges faced by the monks who built the monasteries during the 15th century, they stand as a testament to human ingenuity and perseverance.
Today is Saturday, a beautiful day, 15 degrees in the morning. It's shortly after 8, maybe 8:30 already. We're starting our day in Meteora. We're so happy to have this beautiful weather last night. There's not a big chance of rain today, which is great. This is day number 5 of the ACT track, and we took a bit of a detour to get to Meteora and see the monasteries. We're just gonna take the 40-minute ride and get to the entry point of day number 5. And then it's about a 250 kilometer ride from there. Now, the last day of the ACT track, the day number 5, has less percentage of off-road, but it's longer in track, so there's quite a bit of pavement that we can expect.
On our final leg of the official ACT track, we rejoined the designated route, albeit with a slight detour we took to explore the enchanting Meteora site, causing us to miss the off-road trails of this section. Only the first 20 kilometers of the official ACT Day 5 track are indeed off-road tracks, and our original plan was to cover this section at the end of Day 4 before heading to Meteora. The remainder of the ACT Day 5 track leads along paved roads all the way to the Vikos Gorge. The journey to the next town of Metsovo boasted winding roads that were a joy to ride, although they paled in comparison to the exhilarating off-road tracks of the previous days. A notable highlight along the way was the charming St. Nicholas Church nestled in the mountains. We made a brief stop to explore its interior and admire the surroundings before continuing on to Metsovo.
That's quite nice. There's a market going on. It's a Saturday today, I think. It's Saturday. So I want to see if we can have coffee. It looks like cheese and wines. I don't know if they do have coffee.
This bustling town serves as a hub for several small villages and settlements in the Pindus region, offering us the perfect opportunity to enjoy a coffee and browse the local market.
It's quite the happening place here. So we had a quick coffee stop and now we're back on our way.
In hindsight, I'm glad we added the Meteora site to our itinerary, as the last 230 out of the 250 kilometers of the ACT Day 5 track are all on paved roads. The next 90 kilometers offered little excitement aside from this little turtle which we helped across the road, until we arrived at the gateway to the grand finale, the majestic Vikos Gorge.
ACT Greece, yo!
Der 5. war der heftigste Tag.
Ganz krass, nur Straße.
Da haben wir einen Mann verloren,
Ja.
aber die ersten 3 Tage waren...
Hi to Jochen. Sorry to miss the last part. Next time, buddy.
Nestled in the Pindus Mountains in northwestern Greece, the Vikos Gorge is one of the most spectacular canyons in Europe. With a depth of about 1,000 meters, it holds the Guinness World Record as the world's deepest gorge relative to its width and is nicknamed the Grand Canyon of Greece.
The ACT Greece is behind us, and Sebastian and I have one more day together, and we decided to go north into Albania today to follow the southern part of the TET track and see how far we get. And after that, Sebastian has to turn around and catch the ferry from Igoumetsa, as he has to go back to Munich. And I'll be heading north, sort of slowly making my way back into Berlin again. Für die Grenze? Warte mal, nicht einfach durchfahren. Da kommt jemand. Hello! Okay. Passport, okay. Aha. Welcome to Albania. We made it across the border and now officially are in Albania. I mean, you can tell this road is very new and it's an absolute pristine condition here, yeah. Wow. Welcome to the TET of Albania. We just joined the TET track and this is what it's gonna look like probably for a better part of the trek. So we're still going further up the mountains. We don't have any regular roads on the maps anymore. We're like deep into the countryside. This is the kind of roads to get here.
I had nearly put the issue of the burned fuse for the engine control unit out of my mind, as it hadn't resurfaced for the past 1000 kilometers. Yet, here it was again. My engine died, just as we were attempting to depart from the picturesque spot at the bridge.
Oh, this durch.
Little did I realize at that moment that this wouldn't be the final encounter with this problem.
Warum? Weiß kein Mensch.
And the intervals between failures were getting shorter every time.
Aber da ist auch nichts, was hier wackelt oder was hier irgendwie... Ich verstehe es nicht.
We were midway through our journey in Albania, navigating the southern section of the Trans-Euro Trail, when a deceivingly slippery patch of the dry tarmac caught me off guard, causing me to lose control of my motorcycle. Negotiating a corner with minimal lean and reduced speed as we sought out a gas station in Kovoda, I was taken completely by surprise. Fortunately, both the bike and I escaped with only minor scratches from the incident. However, our troubles were far from over as we discovered a more pressing issue: the town's fuel shortage.
We're taking a little detour from the TET track because in the place we wanted to refuel, both gas stations, all three actually I think it was, out of gas. We're afraid range is not going to be enough to go into the mountains and run the risk of not getting gas either because there aren't any big towns, and that was a big town. So we're trying something else now, just off the beaten path a little bit. We arrived at the riverbed. Geil. Flussbett. Ist ein Riesending. Ein Riesending. Erstmal was bis hierhin geschafft, das ist schon mal geil. So we're just gonna have a quick peek around the riverbed. It's pretty long, it's really late, I'm out of gas and out of steam. So we're not gonna do the whole thing, and it may not be so advisable with such a large bike, because I have no option to turn around because I'm low on gas. I'd feel much more comfortable if I had a proper amount of gas in the tank. Range is dropping really quickly. 70 Kilometer Reichweite. 70! Das wird ein knapper Koffer, kann ich dir sagen. Vor allem hier zieht er natürlich wie ein Düsenjet. Check this out. Wow. Just a bunch of sand. Wow. So. 1, 2, 3. Was? Okay. Okay.
Die Bremse.
Ich bin in dieses Kackloch rein, fahr mal oben rüber. Und das Loch hat mich voll so. Uink.
Hier vor 3 Tagen,
Keine Chance.
wenn das so einsaut und dieses Sand so matsch wird.
Da legst du die Karten. Can't build a road here, but a freaking memorial of some kind. Ey, das ist eine krasse Strecke.
Eine Pause kriegt.
Ja, auf jeden Fall.
As we ventured onto this trek in search of the quickest route to the nearest main road, we were unprepared for the challenges that lay ahead. Compounding our concerns, our fuel levels were low, leaving us with no option to backtrack. Thus, reaching the pinnacle of the trek brought us a sense of relief, knowing that we had conquered the highest point and the most difficult part. So we thought.
Look at these big ruts.
The downhill section of the trek proved to be even more challenging, with deep ruts and stretches of muddy terrain testing our skills. Reflecting on the trek's condition, we realized our fortune in traversing it under mostly dry conditions. Had it been wet, the trek would have been nearly impassable.
Alter Schwede. Kurz vorm Abschmieren.
Ja. Das ist einmal das Hinterrad, stand mal 90 Grad höher.
Oh. I'm stuck in this slimy stuff now. Are you kidding me? Holy shit. Oh. Ist nicht dein Ernst, oder? Alter. Das ist krass. Ey, wie willst denn du hier hochkommen, Mensch, mit einem Motorrad? Little electrical KTM problem. That was just a fuse. Had to put a new one in. It took 10 minutes, 10 meters, and it blew again. I put a new one in just right now. Bike doesn't start. We're in the middle of fucking nowhere. Shit.
After the engine control unit fuse blew for the 3rd time in quick succession, I began to worry if I would even make it off the mountain that day, especially with the low fuel problem adding to my concerns.
Schon wieder durch. Super.
Initially, I'd believed this was a problem with the motorcycle itself. However, I discovered a few weeks later that the relay of my SW Motec accessory lights was filled with water, causing the sporadic electrical failures of my motorcycle. Having used the accessory lights on my previous 2 motorcycles, it seemed the relay had lost its waterproofing over time.
So I'm just happy about every... Whoa. Every kilometer we're making with this. Wow, look at this. So we're almost done with the off-road part. This is the main road. Put a new fuse in. Hope it's gonna last a bit longer than the last one, which was just 10 meters.
We got one final look into the mountain range that took us more than 2.5 hours to traverse from the time we left the riverbed. Looking back on the past few days, the off-road tracks in Albania were the most challenging for us, but also the most rewarding. We were now set en route to the nearest town of Gramsh, where we hoped to find accommodation and fuel for the bikes, and suddenly the road felt eerily familiar.
We are on the SH71, and I remember this road from my very first time here in Albania, which was just an on-road tour. And I took this road. It takes 100 and something kilometers, almost no traffic.
We had rescued a few turtles crossing roads in the past days, but these guys were taking the cake. They must have fallen asleep during the egg in the middle of the only main road in a 25-kilometer radius. We made sure to relocate them safely off the side of the road for good karma and continued our way to Gramsh. We arrived to town with empty fuel tanks and found accommodation near the town square.
Some fellow TET riders from the Netherlands getting ready on their small bikes.
As our journey neared its conclusion, our focus shifted to returning to Igoumenitsa to catch the ferry back to Italy. Initially, I had planned to extend the adventure by riding north through the Balkans with Jochen. However, with Jochen retiring early from the tour and the frequency of failures on my motorcycle's engine control unit increasing, I made the decision to cut the trip short and return home early with Sebastian, who was planning to leave early from the tour due to work commitments.
Our Dutch guys here, have a good one.
We were just standing here, pumping up our tires with a battery-powered pump. This nice gentleman is walking down the street there, came out of this garage and offered to give us pressured air. The gas station didn't have any, but this random place does. But it was too late, we were already filled up. So, full pressure, off we go.
We're back at the sea. It's the Mediterranean Sea. First time we're seeing it after we spent some time in the mountains now. We'll be going alongside the Mediterranean Sea for a while.
So we made it to the beach, and there's a nice beach cafe, and this is the view we're getting.
So Albania has some fantastic roads. This is one of them. It's not very high, it's 1,000 meters right now. So we're going the route from north to south. This is probably nice coming up too.
As we were descending down the pass, this abandoned structure caught our interest and we had to pull over to take a closer look.
Richtig gut. Yeah, this abandoned building. Not sure what this is. Looks like the beaches are nicer down there too. Das war doch bestimmt kein Swimmingpool hier. Hätten wir doch fast runterfahren können.
This abandoned site, known as the Big Bunker, holds historical significance. Positioned strategically on the slope of the Cyronian Mountains overlooking the Adriatic Sea, it stands at an elevation exceeding 600 meters, providing an ideal vantage point for spotting ships. A crumbling 3-story building makes up the bunker's main structure on a particular scenic hairpin turn of the road.
Okay, Sebastian is definitely too tall for this. He hit his head. We saw some rats too. Gucken, wo wir hier rauskommen, Mensch.
We are still at the coastline of Albania. We just stopped for lunch a short while back. Met this really interesting guy who's been traveling for almost a year now. He's finishing his tour in Europe.
Okay guys, so this legend here is from Brazil, traveling the world for 1 year. And that's his bike. What's your name?
Pedro.
Pedro, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Now we have about 100 kilometers left until we hit Igoumenitsa, and somewhere in between we'll cross the border from Albania to Greece again.
This is the tiny ferry that's gonna bring us across the water gap. We're in Butrint, so the southern tip of Albania. Gleich rattert's. Pass auf. Rappapap.
While castles may not be the first thing that comes to mind when thinking about Albania, the country boasts a share of impressive fortifications, and the Ali Pasha Castle is among the finest. Situated near the UNESCO World Heritage Site of Butrint, Ali Pasha Castle is nestled amid picturesque waters, accessible only by boat with the assistance of local fishermen. Inhabited since ancient times, Butrint has served as a Greek colony, a Roman city, and a bishopric through its rich history. Flourishing under Byzantine rule and briefly controlled by the Venetians, the city eventually fell into decline during the late Middle Ages due to the formation of marshes in the surrounding area. Today, Butrint stands as one of Albania's most significant archaeological sites, boasting a wealth of cultural, historical and natural treasures. Recognizing its importance, Butrint was designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1992 and later established as a national park in the 2000s.
And the documents for the bike too? Yep.
After crossing the border into Greece, we had a brief ride to Igoumenitsa, where we stayed overnight to catch the early morning ferry. Thankfully, we were able to check in the night before, giving us some extra time before boarding the ferry to Venice. With our motorcycles safely stowed on deck, we embarked on the journey back to Italy. We encountered rain for most of the ride and a last-minute mechanical issue along the way before we reached Munich. However, there was one more important stop we needed to make: a surprise visit to see Jochen in the hospital.